Hey, welcome back. So we've covered a few of the systems involved in making your van livable, like insulation, power, and temperature control. But now let's move on to beds, since that's the next big piece to consider in your build. Deciding on the bed style should be one of your first choices because the rest of the layout will revolve around this. The two primary styles are a platform style bed like this and a convertible bed. Platform style beds are fixed, while convertible beds can transform from couch by day to bed by night. There are two major initial questions to consider to guide you in this process. One, do you want to store bikes or other big gear that requires a lot of space under the bed? And two, are you okay with opening and closing a convertible bed every single day? Having a fixed bed provides ample storage underneath for bikes, gear, water tanks, a toilet, you name it. We call this area under the bed the garage. The one perk of a fixed bed is that you can build the bed as high as you want, creating even more storage space underneath. Plus, you don't need to open and close your bed every day, and you don't need a place to store your bedding and pillows because they just stay on the bed at all times. This is what I have in my second van, and I have to say I really appreciate being able to hop in bed every night without the hassle of converting it. The bed is always ready for a rainy afternoon nap and after a long day on the trail. Also, it can accommodate a regular size mattress, so that's a bonus. Now back in Module 1, we shared the dimensions of different panel vans. In the Ford Transit and Mercedes Sprinter, the width of the van once you've installed the insulation and paneling is about 5 foot 5 inches. The ProMaster is slightly wider. So unless you are shorter than the width of the van, you will want to set up your platform bed so you sleep the long ways down the van rather than across. This long ways orientation also allows for easy storage of mountain bikes under the bed since they're a similar length. However, if you don't want a platform bed and you don't care about easy storage of your bikes underneath the bed, then you might consider installing flares. Flares are made for Sprinters, Transits, and ProMasters, as well as the Nissan NV. And when installed, extend the width of your van in the bed area. This allows you to comfortably sleep across the van rather than down the length of the van. By changing the orientation of your bed, you gain a couple of feet inside the vehicle for living space that can be used to add seating, a larger galley, or even a bathroom. The downside of the flares is that you do lose some insulation, and even more so if you decide to put a slider window in near the flares. The other major type of bed is a convertible bed, which is what I had in my first van. You can place a convertible bed in a couple of different positions depending on your situation. Generally, when a convertible bed is in sofa form, it offers more living space and serves as dual purpose. For example, you can have a dinette in the rear of the van that converts to a bed. You can seat 6 people easily at the table or have a huge workspace. This type of bed also makes for really nice photos out of the back of the van if that's something you care about. While this design sacrifices some storage, for example, you won't be storing mountain bikes and bigger gear items in the van, it makes for a more open living space throughout the day. So if storage isn't your top priority and you don't mind opening and closing your bed every day, this could work for you. But you will need a place to store your bedding during the day. Also, with convertible beds, you'll typically be sleeping on multiple cushions and you might feel the creases when you sleep. So if you think that's something that might bother you, keep that in mind when making your decision. In my first van, the convertible bed was across from the slider door, creating a sofa that looked out the door to a wide open view. It was basically half of a dinette. When I was traveling solo, I could stow the table, and the couch was large enough that I didn't even have to pull the bed out, so that was a plus. What I didn't like about it is when the bed was in bed form, it took up the entire area next to the slider door. When my partner was traveling with me, if we didn't have the same exact sleeping schedule, there really wasn't anywhere to go when the other person was sleeping, and moving from the front of the van to the back of the van required climbing over the bed. Alright, so there you have it. There's some of the pros and cons of the different bed styles. As I mentioned, the biggest decision-making factor here, aside from storage, is deciding whether opening and closing your bed every day will get old after a while. Hopefully now you have a sense of what might work best for you and your lifestyle.